Pastor George Borgard, and this is another Higher Things video short. Holy Week warnings. That's the subject of today's Higher Things video short. We are entering into Holy Week, and our eyes are fixed on Jesus, riding into Jerusalem, triumphantly riding the royal donkey, David's son, riding David's ride, headed for David's throne, the cross. Good Friday, the holiest day of Holy Week, is when Christ dies for us on the cross. His death, the atoning sacrifice for our sins and the sins of the whole world. Easter morning, where the one who died for us rose again from the dead, conquered death, conquered sin, and now he lives and we live in him forever. Now, the warning in Holy Week, today, is that on this most holy week, the enemies of the faith of Jesus don't take a week off. They don't stop attacking the faith of Jesus. In fact, they ramp it up. Every single solitary year that I have been a pastor, someone has come up with some new show, some new idea, some new book, some new revelation concerning how Jesus either didn't die or didn't rise again from the dead. How something about the apostolic testimony isn't true. It happens every year. And what we should do in the faith of Jesus is understand that our faith is founded on fact. It's not a myth. This didn't happen in a galaxy far, far away or have to do with something that goes on the Arctic, on the North Pole. Jesus' death and resurrection is in historic time and in a historic place. It has biblical evidence of its occurrence and extra biblical evidence of its occurrence. More people saw Jesus die and rise again, more witnesses than most of the things that we hold as, important in history. I think of, there's more sort of written evidence of the death of Christ than Caesar crossing the Rubicon. Caesar tells us he crossed the Rubicon. We see the effects of Caesar crossing the Rubicon, but he's the one that tells us that Gaul is divided into 4 parts and all that jazz. We have 4 witnesses, eyewitness testimony. 3 of them remarkably similar, synoptics. They look the same. And 1 who's got something else that he's doing, but his testimony lines up with their testimony. Variances in the apostolic testimony are there for our gift because 4 different people seeing the same event are going to report 4 different things, all of which agree, but they might be highlighting some things and not other things. When it comes to the resurrection, not just the 11 saw it. 1 of the 11 denied Jesus and then changed his tune. Also, the women saw it. The other disciples saw him alive. The universe changed. Extra biblical authors, Roman historians talk about how something went on in Palestine where this teacher died and then his disciples saw him alive. They speak about Paul, who was a persecutor of the faith and then suddenly became the greatest missionary of the faith. Now, none of the extra biblical things are important for us except that your faith is founded on fact. This is a reasonable conclusion when you eliminate everything else, that Jesus was seen alive, was betrayed into the hands of the chief priests and teachers of the law. He was denied by his chief apostle, one of his chief apostles. They all scattered. Then they all returned after his death, proclaiming that he was alive. They saw him die. They saw him alive. And that universe-changing reality spread throughout all the world. So don't believe the hype. Don't believe the newest craze. It rests to the world to disprove the resurrection because it happened. And there's evidence of it's happening. Not to mention the fact that your life and the life of your family has changed. See, the problem with the world's attacks on the death and resurrection of Christ is we can't deny the resurrection of Christ and have faith. We can't deny the death of Christ and have faith. These are the linchpins of our faith. If Jesus didn't die for us, we're lost, and there's no reason to do what you do. Just pack it up and just live for yourself. If Jesus didn't rise again from the dead, there's no reason to do what you do. Just pack it up and live for yourself. That's why the world goes after these things. But these are the tenets of our faith. This is what our faith is founded on, where everything flows from. So don't despair. Keep your eyes on Jesus. Keep your eyes on the eyewitness testimony of the death and resurrection of Christ, and know that what he does for you, and that his death is your death to sin, and his resurrection is your salvation. I'm Pastor George Borchardt, Eyes on Jesus this week, and this has been another Higher Things video short.